Alright, so today we're talking about how we can use those random samples we were talking about before to give us some information. So here's an example problem. Alright, Mr. Olson has a drawer of 100 socks that are all either black or white. He wants to estimate how many are white, so he randomly picks 10 socks out of the drawer. If 4 of the socks are white, what would be a good estimate for the number of white socks in the drawer? Okay, so I did a random sample. I took 10 socks out of the drawer. Okay, I just randomly picked 10 socks without looking. That is a random sample because I had a chance of picking any of them, and I just picked 10. So I can use that information now to estimate the number of socks in the drawer. This one's pretty easy and straightforward because the numbers are nice. I picked 4 out of the 10 were white. All right, so 4 white out of 10 total. So I want to know how many would that be out of 100 total. And, this is a proportion we could easily solve with cross multiplying and dividing. I think most of us probably see right away. 10 times 10 is 100, so I'd do 4 times 10. X would be 40. All right. I would guess that there's probably about 40 white socks. Now, I will show you quick how you do that. Those of you that don't remember cross multiplying and dividing, I do this bottom times that top, so 10x. Then the other bottom with the opposite top, 400. And then this is multiplication, so I need to divide on both sides. And I divide by 10, and x is 40. That's one way to get to 40. Or like I said before, 10 times 10 is 100, so I do 4 times 10, that's 40. Now, that's an estimate. I don't really know how good of an estimate that is because I only did one sample. I could actually get better estimates by doing more and more samples. If I threw all the socks back in, mixed them all up, grabbed 10 out again, and this time I got 3, and the next time I got 5, and the next time I got 4, and then I got 4 again, and then I got 3 again. Well, now I can say, yeah, that would be, 30 out of 100, 50 out of 100, 40, 40, 30, and my first one was 40. So if I look at all these, yeah, I'm going to guess it probably is right around 40. But at the same time, if I did it, a bunch more times, maybe I come out with 6 the next time, and then 8, and then 8 again, and then 7, and then 8 again, and then my first one was 4. Well, the first one could have just been kind of off. Obviously, all these ones are up around 7 and 8. I'm going to guess is probably close to 80 white socks. This could have just, been a rare one. I just didn't get very many white ones. So you can use one sample to make a prediction, and that's fine. We don't know when we do that how great of a prediction that is. If you do it multiple times, then you can see how good that prediction is going to be. It becomes a much better prediction. So generally in statistics, the more data you have, the better off you're going to be. Okay. Now, we also want to talk. You're going to see in the book in this section that we're looking at dot plots and box plots. Now, these are ones that you should have already learned, but I don't know if you did or not. So we're going to review them. So when I want to make a dot plot, I start by just making a number line. And I look at all the data that I have. These numbers range from 1 to 20. So on my number line, I'm going to be going between 1 and 20. And you notice I'm just going to label every other line on here just to keep it a little bit neater. could certainly label every single line if you wanted to. Okay. And if you're making a dot plot, all I do is I go to each item in the data, okay? And I just draw a dot over that number on the number line, okay? So I see a 5, I put a dot over 5. And then I'm just going to mark it off so I know I've already used that one, so I don't accidentally do any twice or skip any. Next one, I got a 12, so we'll make a dot over 12, and then I got 14. And you should be able to go ahead and do this on your own. I'm going to finish this. Another 5, a 4, and it should look the same as mine when we're done. We should have all our dots in the same place. And what this does for you when you do a dot plot, it just kind of gives us a quick visual of where our data lies. And we can kind of see if the data is spread out a lot, if it's all grouped together. Like this one, we could see right away. Well, I can notice that 5 has more than any other number. So that's one thing I can see right away. I can find the mode, what shows up the most. And I see these are really kind of spread out. Right? There's not a lot grouped together. So that tells me there's a lot of what we call variability in this. Some data sets, the numbers are grouped a lot more close together, and there's less variability. But that just gives us that quick visual of what it looks like. Now, to do a box plot, you have to remember how to find median. Median is the middle number. When the data is in order, it has to be in order. So if I'm going to make a box plot, I'm actually going to find a median 3 times. And so to do that, so anytime I'm going to make this box plot, the first thing I'm going to do is put the numbers in order. So again, I like to cross them off as I go to make sure I get them all and don't miss any. So I'm going to have 1, 4, then I have 3 5s. I could actually use my dot plot here because that put them in order for me. Then I have a 6, and then I have a 10, 2 12s. I'm just putting them in order so I can find the median. And then I have a 14 and I have a 20. Okay, so that's all of them. And I like to count at the end. There are 11 numbers here, so I'll make sure I have 11 down here. And I do, so all right, I'm good. I've got them all. So now what I do is I just have to find what's in the middle. There's lots of ways you can do that. Some people will say, I mark off the 2 numbers on the end and work my way in until I get to the middle. That's a pretty easy way to do it. And there it is. 6 is the one in the middle. Okay? So that is the median. Now, I said we're going to find a median 3 times because what we're going to do now is we're going to look at each half of the data. I'm going to look at these numbers. I'm going to find the median of those. There's only 5 of them. The one in the middle is that 5. Okay? And then in this end of the data, again, there's 5 numbers. The one in the middle is that 12. I need those 2 points, those 2 numbers. And then the last 2 things I need are the biggest number, which of course is 20. I've already got that because they're in order, and the smallest number. So now when I make a box plot, what I'm going to do for my box plot, I start with a number line again. Okay? And on that number line, I need to put those 5 numbers. The lowest number, the median of the first half of numbers, the median of the whole thing, the median and second half of the numbers, and the mode, or in the highest number. Okay? So I'm actually just going to count by twos here. If I remember to count by twos. Count by twos, that's 17, 15, 13, 11, 9, 7, and 5. And so what I do is I put a line at each of these 5 numbers. I put a line above the 1, put a line above the 5, put a line above 6, which would be between 5 and 7, put a line above 12, and put a line above 20. The 3 in the middle, I make into a box. The 2 on the ends, I draw lines, or sometimes they're called whiskers, out to the highest and lowest numbers. So that's how you make a box and whisker. I need 5 numbers. I need the median of the whole thing. Then I need the median of the first group of numbers, and the median of the second group of numbers, and then the biggest number and the smallest number. I mark all 5 of those on the graph, make a box out of the middle 3, then draw these whiskers out to the other 2. That's how you make a box plot.